Yes, yes, yes. How are we doing? Happy Friday. Hope you had a great week. Ready for the weekend. In today's show, we're going to talk about learning to forgive yourself for the things that didn't go quite your way, for the things that you didn't do well, for the people that you've upset, for whatever has happened. Right. I think this is an important subject. To make sure that we allow ourselves to progress as human beings, as blokes, and stop beating ourselves up, because I think lads beating themselves up is huge. All right, so let's get into this. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Bourman, and if you are coming through, then please do let me know. What I would love to hear from you in the comments is do you beat yourself up too much? Okay, so do you beat yourself up too much? Do you forgive yourself enough? Um, so I think the first thing to really understand is that it doesn't matter what happens within our life and with everyday scenarios, we're always going to end up messing up somehow, some way, some shape or form. The things that we say might end up upsetting people. We might we might um, not do something the way that we wanted it to do. We might not have connected with our wives the way we wanted to. We might have snapped at the kids, whatever. Like it's it's life, it's reality, right? So there is that level of terms of like things that we don't do well, um, and then there are other things like in the professional sense within our career, decision making, the way that we handle peers or staff or our own business. Okay, and then we end up beating ourselves up again for that. And then there are major things that we do like falling out with friends, not putting the effort in relationships, getting misplacing your priorities. Look, it's the whole multitude of things that we go through because we're human beings, right? Um, and I think if we beat ourselves up for every single thing that we do, like in here, inside of our head, and we keep saying to ourselves, "Oh, you're not good enough," or "You always keep making the wrong decisions," or "You keep messing up," or "Nobody wants you around," you end up spiraling into a negative state or a negative pit with your emotions and your mindset, right? And it can become quite detrimental to your mental and emotional health and your performance every single day. So when you're going round or you're commuting to work or you're commuting back from work or you're going on your run and you're going to the gym and you're thinking to yourself, God, my kids deserve better or my wife deserves better. Like they don't deserve better because they've got something that they love in you. And it's a case of realizing that actually it, it's character building some of the process that you're going through. It's a process that you're going through on a day-to-day basis where you're learning more about yourself. You're understanding your emotions more. And like a lot of the men that we work with, one of the things I always say is that we will never ever stop all of the things that overwhelm us mentally and emotionally, like the victim mentality, the pity party, the feeling sorry for ourselves, the feeling guilt, the beating ourselves up. All of those things will end up coming back, but it's having that flick in the switch and actually going, all right, what can I do about it? What can I learn from it? How can I rectify this? How can I move forwards from this? And actually understanding that this is just part and parcel of being a being a human being, not just being a man, but being a human being, because women do the same as well, right? They snap at us. They say things that don't mean. They mess up as well. As it's not like them and us. It's all of us. And we still come out with those same emotions of like beating ourselves up. There's nothing to be gained from it, right? There's nothing to be gained from it. I think if we are, well, as we go through our lives, we will naturally evolve as human beings, but we won't evolve if we stay in the same state and we keep beating ourselves up. And I see beating ourselves up, that type of tool, as handcuffs to your growth. And and I think it's okay to be aware of those emotions and understand those emotions and actually feel like remorse for anything that's happened. But I think there also has to be an element of you got to just get on with it. you know, we've got to move on. You've got to do the apologies. I've got my friend who's walking down here with me, and he was talking about before he went on holiday, and he was talking about how stressed he was, how pent up he was about lots of little things, right? And he ended up having a huge argument with a shop owner about something that was so ridiculous that he didn't even mean to do it. And he said he just got himself worked up in that state, and then afterwards started beating himself up for the way that he was. But actually, like, that's just that. And like I said to him, it is what it is. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that sort of stuff doesn't matter. What we want to try and do is improve the way that we react, the way that the things that we say, our emotional response, our mental response, our mentality to ourselves. And that is the journey, right? But you're never going to move forward. You're never going to understand yourself. You're never going to grow if you stay in that state. You've got to learn to let things go. Just got to learn to let things go. And like any habit or any routine or anything that you put your mind to, the more that you do it, the quicker it will happen. Okay. And this is something that I'm with my more personal clients. One of the things I always saying is flick the switch, flick the switch, flick the switch. So the minute something happens and it triggers them emotionally, and that fire is going off, flick the switch to put the water on the fire. Okay, like, recognize what's happening with your emotions, recognize that you're becoming angry, recognize that you're becoming frustrated, recognize that there is a reaction on the way, and put water on that as quickly as possible. Recognize that you feel sorry for yourself, like you're waiting for somebody to come and save you. Snap out of that and then show up for yourself. And that is what we talk about, that flick of the switch in the head. And I don't think you can ever avoid those emotions or those thoughts that come in, but you can flip it really, really quick. So you can just get on with life, all right? You can get on with it, and you've got to have those learning lessons as you move forwards. So for action planning right now, for over the weekend, what I want you to do, or in fact is, and today, I want you to think about anything that you're holding on to, anything that you are dwelling over, mulling over, anything that you're feeling guilty over, anything that you're punishing yourself about. I want you to almost write down what that thing is, okay, and write down why it's okay to move forwards. And I tried this exercise. I was just like, when someone told me about this exercise, I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not really going to help me whatsoever. And actually, I did it, and I actually couldn't stop writing when I was writing it all out. And I was brain dumping why it didn't matter, why it was okay to move on, and what I had learned from it. And I did this piece, and it was about 15 minutes over a coffee. And I felt like I could let it go. I felt like I could let it go, and I understood myself a lot more from that, and I took my learning points, and just for the sake of 15 minutes while I was having a coffee, I moved forwards and really recognised a little something new about myself. And I think that's what we don't do enough as blokes, is we don't face those things that we feel awful about, that we beat ourselves up about. We just let it manifest. We just let it grow and manifest, right? And because we're men, we don't show emotions, and we should. Like, I talk to my wife about everything. I always tell you guys that, like, you know, she's like my personal counsellor. So, like, doing that little exercise I've done there, and then reflecting it with someone else, and trying to understand what happened, makes you a much stronger individual, much more open to, like, moving on and healing. And being the man that you want to be, right? Building those connections. That's what ideally we want, right? As ambitious men, we want to be, like, driven to be better. Driven to be better, okay? Driven to be more connected. Driven to show up more. But we can't do that if we're in that state, that mental state where we don't allow ourselves to move forwards. We don't allow ourselves to see the good in ourselves. We just see the bad all the time. We think that everybody else, that I used to all the time, I used to think, oh, Jem deserves someone better than me, because all I ever seem to do is lash out. All I ever seem to do is be this guy who's always angry all the time, or always work driven, or doesn't pay them enough attention. And realised that was just victim mentality. It was just feeling sorry for myself. Instead, she needs me to be the man that I need to be. And so, right, James, get a grip of those emotions and that mentality. Like, put into perspective, you are the man that you need to be, but you just need to change a couple of things. Like, you need to have more barriers with your timings. I need to understand that work isn't the main priority. I need to understand that they need quality time with me. And I made all these adjustments, made all of these awareness things through that exercise that I just told you. And it allowed me to be that guy that she desperately needs me to be, and for what my kids desperately need me to be. rather than being the victim. And it slowly integrates into a process, a rewiring, a state of mind, a mindset, the SOPs, standard operation procedures, that like this is who you're going to be. You're going to be that man that you need to be for the people that need you to be it. Otherwise, you'll be carrying baggage for the rest of your life, and you don't be carrying emotional baggage. Okay, you don't want to be. You want to be enjoying life. I feel like that was quite deep. Anyway, listen. I hope that helps. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Trying to get men to open up about things like this is really difficult. So what I would really love for you guys is to put a paragraph about what you do, what you're struggling with is, because what it does, it shows that other blokes struggle and go through this type of stuff as well. And I really feel like it can help mentally and emotionally for those guys to be able to open up and actually go, yeah, I struggle with this as well. I keep hold of things. I put myself down. I feel like everyone doesn't deserve me, or whatever your thing might be. I really would urge you to share, because lots and lots of people will see this, and it's important to build strength off strength. And I think that's what we should be doing as men, is building strength off each other by sharing vulnerabilities, sharing realities, sharing thought processes that we go through, and that's how we get stronger and more inspired by each other, is by sharing these things. Like I'm so open. I don't care. But if you struggle with letting go of things, if you struggle by beating yourself up, then talk about it on here. And I can promise you, even by just writing, you go like, man, I feel like I've got something off my chest. I promise you, honestly, it will help. Anyway, listen, I hope you have an amazing weekend. We're doing the 5-day challenge next week. If you're not on the challenge, I would fully recommend you come on the challenge. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. It's a 5-day course. And it really is a great insight into how you function as a human being, as a bloke, how you show up, how you connect, how you do the things that you want to do to be the man that you want to be, right? So I'll see you next week. If you're with me, Sunday night is the intro. If not, I'll see you for the Rise to Thrive Monday morning.